So, as the thumbnail says, can we predict perfect seeing? No. And if you're relying on the weather and weather predictions to do anything, you're probably going to be in trouble. So the short answer is no, but the long answer is yeah, and it's complicated. With a few of these tools I'll show today, and if you can manage to sit through this little chat for, I don't know, probably 10 minutes, you'll be able to work out with better accuracy what the skies are going to be doing around your location. So I can't tell you when it's going to be perfect, but I can tell you what to look for to differentiate good seeing from poor seeing. Then maybe you can luck into the perfect conditions and be ready to take advantage of them when they arise. So for me, for example, I could be out taking 50 captures a night of the planets, and it takes less than 15 minutes, probably less than 10 minutes, to get a 9 out of 10 planetary imaging or planetary image in good seeing. Or with the case of this moon image that I've been showing you, that was 2 minutes and 3 seconds is all you need to get a quality image. So before we start talking about predicting the seeing, let's tackle a few issues that are often confused with poor seeing. So I think number one for me is poor collimation. Now, I don't think I've met a person who thinks their collimation work is crap. Everyone seems to think that it's tip-top. I thought mine was pretty good for a while, and then a mate of mine gave me this guide, and it is a pretty hard-hitting, very long piece. It's thousands of words, and it deep dives on collimation like I hadn't read before. So I'm really happy that I got that, and it's probably the best Newtonian guide, collimation guide there is out there. I'll link it in the description, and everything I talk today will be linked in the description too, so you can go on there and click on it and see what it has for you. So I was forced to revisit my technique this year. I was just having some dramas, and it was just one of the logical issues that came up. So I really attacked that, but really glad I am. So don't be too proud to revisit your collimation techniques. What could be the worst thing that happens? You learn a little bit. So that's probably number one to me. And the other major thing is cooling, thermals, which leads to tube currents. So poor thermals, ensure your scope is cooled down, and you take it outside at least an hour before you're imaging. So if you're unsure, if you've got thermal problems with your scope, pick a bright target like the moon, put it out of focus, and then look at what you get. You will be able to see the tube currents and stuff through the lightness of the moon. So anything you see once it's out of scope, out of focus, will no longer be the seeing. It will be the thermals around your telescope. So if you've got a bright object and you can put it out of focus, the things you will start to see in the eyepiece or whatever you're using in the camera, they will be related to the thermal issues with your scope, whether it's good or bad. So you should only be a few degrees away from ambient to get the ideal results. So you should always try and keep your scope pretty close. And for some people with the bigger mirrors, like me now with the 24, it's something that I've got to consider, especially if I'm imaging in winter. It's definitely something that I've got to keep an eye on, because there's a pretty steep change in temperature. That big piece of glass is not going to just simply keep up with. So the bigger the scope, the more trouble you're going to have. But ultimately, both of these things will display the same symptoms as poor seeing, and more often than not they are confused with I've got crap seeing. So and the vast majority of people think they've got crap seeing, and some of them do, but sometimes collimation and thermals will be the culprit, and if you're not sure of that, then you're probably going to be missing out on better images, better viewings, even if it's visual. So once we understand the basic principles of atmospheric turbulence and how it comes about, you can start to work out for yourself what's good seeing in your areas. So let's have a look at the tools that I use to try and predict my seeing or understand what it's going to be doing around my place. So windy.com is the main one that I go to have a bit of a look. I'm here in Newcastle in Australia, and we're on the coast. That's not me, but it's reasonably close. So, and as you can see now, we've got a 17, oh, when's that? It's Friday. What are we now? This is Sunday the 14th, 11 p.m. and we've got a 13 kilometre an hour southeasterly blowing. So for me, that would be pretty good if it didn't look like that. For me, with my location, I've got the Great Dividing Range running down here. It's about 10 kilometres away to my west, and any traditional westerly wind, I've also got another hill which is only about 500 metres away, but any traditional westerly wind for me, they will obstruct and we get a fair bit of turbulence. So my best seeing actually comes when the winds are prevailing from the east or the southeast or something like that, when they're coming across the water, because you'll get a laminar flow when it comes across the water. This for me is far better than the westerly, but it does provide problems with my winds as well, because basically all the winds prevail from the west. Most winds prevail from the west, depending on the system that we've got. And so sooner or later, when I've got an easterly wind, sooner or later, it's got to turn back to be a westerly wind. So there becomes shear points. There's about 10, 12 different layers, 15 I think there might even be on here, on windy. All these different layers there. And they all have the potential to be going in different directions. And if the speed is increased and they are going in different directions, it will create turbulence between each layer of wind or air. So the more turbulent layers you have, the higher speed differentials between each layer, they will be problematic, and they create the turbulence or the shearing, and then that is what makes it impossible to see through. So these ones here, see how the numbers keep climbing up. We've got 32 kilometres an hour, we had 21, 17, 34, 35. They are really good, consistent winds. The only trouble is, I've already shown you, 73. So that's a sharp jump, and we're sort of up around the jet stream now, but that's not really too much of a problem either. But as I said, it's cloudy, and traditionally, another thing for me is I'm never afraid to set up underneath the clouds, because for me, they will traditionally provide me with better seeing. So with this, another thing with this you can see, these areas where the isobars are wider than the narrow ones, it means the air traditionally is more stable or the larger the gap, the more stable the environment above. So they are another thing that I look for. High pressure systems, ideally I'd go for imaging under high pressure systems, but it doesn't matter. If it's clear, there's not much difference in wind speed between each layer. You don't worry about the high pressure system, you get what you give them basically. Some of the best, that moon image that I showed earlier, that was 1025 millibars with a 140 kilometre an hour jet stream, which is starting to get quite moderate, and you could see that that's some of the best seeing you'll ever get. Another mate of mine, Tom Williams, Jupiter from last year, sensational image, extreme amount of detail, was very similar. Even got superb detail on Ganymede, very similar numbers, 130k an hour jet stream. So don't be scared of the jet stream. It's not the be all end all. It is very high up, 7 kilometres, 10 kilometres, in that sort of range there. And the higher up the air goes, the lighter and the clearer it is. So you can even see, I'll put up on the screen again, the moon image. You can't even see the jet stream there in front of you, even though it's doing 130 k's an hour. So don't be scared of the jet stream. What else can we do? So I've talked about the create turbulence and the shearing between the different layers. So the higher speeds we want to avoid in different directions, or even 80 kilometres an hour and 30 kilometres an hour going the same way. That will create that turbulence that we talked about. So this is windy.com. Have a look at it. See what you think. Also, we've got this image here, and this will again show you that between all of these I've labelled which direction the wind's coming from if it's a bit small. But between here and like a 1,000 feet, probably about 1,000 feet, 100 metres, probably about 2,000 feet or 800 or 900 metres, it swaps from east to west. So that will create a lot of turbulence because the winds are no longer going in the same direction. Ideally, you want all the layers to be westerly winds, all below 40 kilometres an hour, 50 kilometres an hour. That's fine. If they're all going similar speed, it will be that laminar flow that we're looking for. So, and unfortunately, this is a slide out of a talk I did with some with the Tasmanian Astronomical Society. Lovely people. But anyway, this looks like it could be very good. Yeah, it does. And again, it was cloudy. So you sort of get it hammered there. But so let's look at that. So SkippySky.com is also another great one that Tom pointed me at. And it gives you the actual seeing prediction. And whether it be, if you look here, or where should we go? Sorry, I'm just sort of looking through the camera. Get something with a bit of colour in it. All right, that's up a fair bit higher than us, up the coast. But all this stuff down here, I'm around here, but all of this down here, that's crap. But see how it gives you that's an 8 to 9 out of 10 area there, and it will do that over. It's starting to get all right. There you go. So that is Tuesday, 11 o'clock Tuesday night. Looks like it could be pretty good, but you can see that line there. That is basically the Great Dividing Range. So, and it's smart enough to tell that that's where the wind kicks up or starts to get turbulent. So SkippySky is very accurate. And it's not just Australia, even though you can see that here. There's North America and Europe and stuff like that. But myself and Tom find it to be quite good. I'm sure lots of other guys that use it, quite good and accurate to probably within one, 7 out of 10 seeing, could be 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 seeing, could be 8 out of 10, could be, you don't know where you are. So, but it's pretty close to the mark a lot of the time. So basically it's just about getting out there and continuing to look into it. Transparency, red, yep, that's because it is cloudy. So, but it does have transparency. It's got the seeing, it's got temperature, it's got your wind speed, it's got your jet stream. So very, very handy program. Again, SkippySky, be linked down below. So have a look at that. So before you go out at night, have a look at windy.com. Go through it, see if it's going to be all right. Take a couple of screenshots of what you expect. Come to SkippySky and go through a couple of hours that you're going to be out there. Take 3 screenshots and dump them into a folder where you're going to get your captures. So when you come back in, you've got all this information there, and you can look at it and you go, well, I had a crap night, so that's not working. And you will start to develop a trend. So don't take each night on the holy grail. It will start to show you a trend. You want 5 or 6 or 7 nights. And if it's like that and it's continuing to be bad, that'll be you. Most of my mates that live around here, Andy Casely's not too far away. He's not interested in an easterly wind where he lives. And the experience he's had when he was in Sydney, he doesn't like it at all. But up here, for me, easterly wind seems to work a bit better. So I'll tolerate it as much as I can get it. So to wrap up, come over here, use these tools, see what you think, clouds, document it, go back and reflect on your information at the end of the night after you've had all your captures. How'd you go? Make sure your collimation is right. Make sure your scope's cooled down. And then, and only then, will you be able to get the correct information, because you can do all of this, and if your scope's not collimated properly, you're going to get mud. 100% you're going to get mud. So start there. Collimation, thermals, and then come over to these. So this tutorial here is superb. Do yourself a favour, even if you think you're doing a good job, read it. There's lots of stuff in there to pick up, and I'm glad I read it. So with these new tools and what we've talked about, head out, get outside, because the more you're out there, the more chance you've got to running into perfect seeing. So good luck, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.